Hey, I just actually rewatched 1995's Heat, Michael Mann's uh, crime drama starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro and crammed full of many, many other people, including Natalie Portman in like her third film as, you know, as the young daughter of Pacino's wife, his stepdaughter. Man, it's like one of those things of like, it is almost 30 years old, and I saw it in theaters. Like, to me, this should not be an old movie. This is like last week. And I mean, it's a really well put together movie. It is, acting from top to bottom. Yes, from Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, uh, um, Danny Elio, just so Hank Azaria. There's just so many people in this, and they're all in a extremely, it's not actually, it's a long ass movie, but it feels extremely lean because it's got two storylines following both the cops who, especially Pacino, who is incredibly driven. And Pacino apparently says he envisioned he was basically on cocaine. His character was on cocaine the entire runtime of the movie, and I can kind of believe it, though that doesn't explain why every other character Al Pacino seems to have played for a good swath in there was also on cocaine. Who knew? Who knows? But it's basically two warring gangs. It's just one gang happens to be the cops. They're both equally as driven, equally, this is all they do. And I mean, a part of this you got to think is, you got to think of it and think of it. It's like, there's a thing that movie critics that I listen to talk about of how there's there's a certain kind of film that gets greenlit, which is the the dad who feels bad about being at work all the time and finally like tosses that off and spends time with the kids. That's the kind of movie that filmmakers make because they feel guilty about the fact that they have completely neglected their families and are workaholics. They make movies about people who give that up. And I do wonder if there's sort of this kind of driven, obsessive thing that Michael Mann is obsessed with, that he has, like, the De Niro and the Pacino character are both obsessed, both driven, both like Robert De Niro's criminal character is like, basically you have to be prepared to drop anything in your life in 30 seconds flat and just leave. If when the heat starts coming, just drop everything and leave. You can't have any attachments. It's the monkish life. It's the discipline, as he says. And you wonder how much of that rules artists' lives. It is, a part of this movie for me, yes, watching it 30 years later, is how fresh it feels, and like how, no, all these people are this age still. It's like, no, Pacino and De Niro are now senior citizens, and I just watched Natalie Portman in December, where she is playing a fully mature woman in that movie. Great artist in her own right, and it's like, this is a passage of time, but it's like, it's hard to process that. But also, just the movie feels fresh in a way. In another way, it's a very male movie. The female characters, much as I'm talking about Natalie Portman's little character, it's a very small little bit. It's more notable that that's Natalie Portman. This is a movie about men doing their jobs and doing their jobs to the exclusion of anything else. And, I think Mann very much romanticizes this and makes this cool and makes this noble and makes this kind of thing. There's there's the nods to kind of just the kind of emptiness, the hollowness of this. You know, the last shot, spoilers for a 30-year-old movie, is Pacino holding the hand of the dead corpse of De Niro's character, and it's like, yeah, they're linked together, and it's dead, it's hollow, it's sterile, it's not life giving. So there is a comment there, but fuck, it looks good. And it seems extremely cool, and they're very competent at their jobs, and you love, it's like there's a reason why this is a really watchable and rewatchable movie that way. It's not like it's not like these guys' lives are shit and everything is shit. It's like, no, these guys' lives are just noble, noble kind of, oh, they are men kind of, fetishizing of that kind of a masculinity of not having proper lives, which is like not a great thing to fetishize. Um, yeah, yeah. And you have Wayne Grove, who is just, um, someone who is a serial killer of young prostitutes, which is like another thing of maleness running around in this movie. Um, you know, it's filled with shitty relationships, or men who are in good relationships but destroy their families by not being able to give up the thrill, the adrenaline. And the movie feeds us and entices us with that adrenaline at the same time. So, what does that say about us? All right, I'm going to leave it there. That's Heat, 1995.